The expectations we have on the first day of harvest is that the fruit is going to be perfect. And walking through the vineyard, looking at the fruit, we're impressed with how well the fruit looks.
Everything is hand-picked. Everything we do here is handwork. I've been doing this since 1958. I'm going pretty close to 60 years. I love making grapes for wine. I do it out of passion.
Now we're starting to get our deliveries of the first of the morning. They'll bring the truck in, we'll unload it. You see this scale. This scale is almost 100 years old. So we have 2,110 pounds. And we love using it. It reminds us of what the history of this Timbercrest Farms is. We unload the truck, put the grapes on the scale, we get the gross weight of the vineyard, we bring it inside, and we stack, and then we start sorting it. We're looking for moog, material other than grapes. It could be rocks, frogs, or any number of other things. They have the opportunity to pull those out. Then it goes through our destemmer. The fruit drops in whole berry into our bins, little dry ice on top. We add a little bit of sulfur, and then they go into a lineup. We keep each vineyard and each block clone separate. This way we can deal with each vineyard and block separately. We have a great chef, Jim May, who also works in our tasting room, and he's worked at many other restaurants and wineries. We're lucky to have him as our harvest chef the last 3 or 4 years. So that's a big part of our operation, is the communal lunch that we share together with the whole winery. We do that every single day, and it's the great escape for most of us to get a chance to talk about what's going on and enjoy a really nice lunch. If you come and visit Papapietro Perry during harvest, we have an open door policy. So we leave the doors open so people can stick their head in and see what we're doing. This process from start to finish takes anywhere from 10 to 20 days. From the day we put it in the bin till the day we press it. The style that we do is definitely old school, definitely hands-on, and a very lack of equipment. We just we try to do as much as we can by gravity fed and hands-on. The next part now is the yeast. We have a 20 bin lot. We're going to split it up between 2 different yeasts. So we start out with these buckets, rolling buckets. We're going to put water in at 110 degrees. At that point, we're going to add our cultured yeast, and then we'll wait for about a half an hour, 45 minutes for it to saturate into the nutrients. And then we'll start dumping some of the fruit to bring the temperature closer to the temperature that's in the fermenting bins. Once we get the right temperature, then we'll spread each yeast into the lot it was designed for. The 2 guys that work with me very closely have been with me for almost 15 years each. Dave Lowe is my assistant winemaker, and Tyson Freeman, our general fermenter and cellar master. During active fermentation, we punch it 3 times a day, morning, late afternoon, and evening, to cool the fermentation down. That way it releases, by punching the cap into the juice, it releases the heat that's built up in the cap, so that you get a slower, cooler fermentation. Now that fermentation is complete, we'll move the bins over, and we'll extract the free run juice out of each bin, That'll go into a tank. So we'll do one vineyard, one block, and that'll go in the tank, and then we'll put the solids in the press. We'll press the solids. The juice from the press will go into this tray, and then we'll transfer this to the tank where we have the free run. So we'll have both free run and press wine in the tank, and we'll let it settle for 3 or 4 days before we put it into oak barrel, a French oak barrel, where it'll stay for a year. We met Randy Peters in '98 and made our first wine from Peters Vineyard in 1999. In 2002, the Wine Spectator named the Peters Vineyard one of the 2 new hottest vineyards in California, and we were very excited.
Papapietro Perry put me on the map. So it is a symbiotic, definitely a symbiotic relationship that we're working with the winery and the grower here. Ben, Bruce, and I have never had a contract written. It's always been just a handshake.
And now we don't even have a handshake, we give a hug.
Yeah.
Now that we have the wine in the tank and settled, we're going to start filling our barrels. We use a combination of brand new 1-year-old and 2-year-old. Francois Frères oak is our main cooper. We'll age these for about 5 or so months. Then in spring we sit down and determine our bottlings, our blends. So we'll take the different parts of the vineyard and put them back together again. Once we've made our decision, we'll take the wine out of those barrels, put it in the tank, blend it together, and then clean the barrels and put it back in the barrel, and that'll be a finished wine that will age now for another 4 months or so before we bottle it. Today is day 2 of our bottling, 3-day bottling for Pinot Noir from Papapietro Perry. It all culminates with the completion when we get the wine in the bottle finally. We're a small winery. We do between 6 and 10,000 cases. Our average is about 8,000 cases. So it doesn't pay for us to have a bottling line in the winery. So what we do is we use a mobile bottler. We'll put our wine in tanks and run it right out to the truck, and then they'll take it and put it in a bottle and send us a complete package at the end of the rollers. This is the most difficult time of all. It's like you've done all this work and you've got everything in line, and you've taken it from the vine to through fermentation and everything, and you get to this point here, you want everything to be absolutely perfect. So this is where you really bite your nails and hope that you don't have any trouble. We look back at this harvest with great expectations. The fruit came to us in beautiful condition this year. We're excited and looking forward to the finish of harvest and see how these wines turn out.
From our table to yours.